What if the next visitor racing into our solar system wasn't a comet, or an asteroid, or any natural rock at all? What if, hidden inside the endless void, a machine was heading straight for us? In July 2025, astronomers spotted something that shouldn't exist, an interstellar object named 3I/Atlas. Only the third object of its kind ever recorded. It should have been another silent wanderer, a chunk of ice and dust from some distant star system, passing through and vanishing forever. But this time was different. From the moment telescopes locked on, Atlas didn't act like a comet. It didn't act like an asteroid. It acted like something else entirely. A steady glow pulsed from its core, a light no simple rock could emit. Its brightness tripled expectations. Yet it showed no comet tail, no flicker, no instability. Just a calm, unwavering beacon cutting through the dark. Then came the whispers, a heartbeat inside the rock, radio signals matching no known natural process, a sudden course change, like a maneuver. And finally, a reply to a message scientists never expected to get answered. So what is 3I/Atlas, and why do the world's top agencies suddenly want the data hidden away? The story begins with one small anomaly, a flicker on a telescope feed that no one could explain. On July 6, 2025, deep inside the endless stream of data from the James Webb Space Telescope, something unusual appeared. Operators in the NIRSPEC division flagged an object entering the solar system at incredible speed. At first, it looked ordinary, just another faint interstellar traveler, but the first infrared frames told a different story. Instead of a diffuse haze or scattered comet glow, Atlas revealed a tight, concentrated source of heat at its core. Not surface scattering, not solar reflection. A core radiating with white-hot intensity, glowing in steady waves across multiple bands. The readings came in clean, no calibration error, no solar flare interference. Everything about the data screamed, this was real. And yet, nothing about it matched known science. Atlas's light was 3 times brighter than predicted for a body of its size. Worse, it wasn't flickering, no dips, no erratic venting, just a fixed, unwavering beacon. Astronomers compared the data to archives from Hubble and TESS. They noticed something chilling. Atlas had been glowing long before it crossed Jupiter's orbit, far too early for sunlight to trigger ordinary comet activity. Objects like this should be cold, frozen, silent, until they get closer to the sun. But Atlas was already alive, already glowing, already breaking every rule in the book. The Discovery chat logs filled with panicked questions. Outgassing? Instrument ghosting? Unknown physics? No one could explain it, but the truth was becoming clear. Atlas was not a routine discovery. The light wasn't coming from the surface, it was coming from inside. And what came next would prove even stranger. Weeks later, as data piled up, analysts spotted something uncanny. The glow from Atlas wasn't just steady, it was pulsing. Every 4 hours, like clockwork, its brightness rose and fell in a smooth, rhythmic cycle. Not random, not chaotic, a deliberate heartbeat. At first, they tried to match the rhythm to Atlas's rotation, or to sunlight angles, or even to gravitational tides, but nothing lined up. The cycle ignored solar input, it ignored shadows, it ignored distance. The pulse was coming from deep inside the core, untouched by the outside world. For Dr. Lena Marovich, lead Webb scientist, the pattern raised a terrifying possibility. Natural objects don't breathe. They don't pulse with a perfect rhythm. They don't keep time like a metronome. Machines do. The data logs filled with timestamps, each rise and fall more precise than the last. To astronomers, it looked less like geology and more like engineering, as if Atlas was running on some hidden mechanism. But if the heartbeat was strange, the next discovery would cross a line scientists had been waiting on for decades. Because this time, the universe wasn't silent. It was speaking. By late July, telescopes weren't the only instruments staring at Atlas. Radio observatories across the planet, California's Allen Telescope Array, South Africa's Meerkat, even smaller university dishes, turned their ears toward the anomaly. At first, the data was uneventful, cosmic static, satellite interference, the usual noise that fills the void. But then, buried in hours of recordings, something stood out. A narrowband pulse, faint but repeating, every 4 hours, right on schedule, the exact rhythm of Atlas's thermal heartbeat. Natural space objects don't do this. Random bursts, sure. Static hiss, absolutely. But a repeating signal with machine-like precision, that was different. Teams ran Fourier analysis, and the pattern was unmistakable. A stable carrier wave, sharp against the background noise. Even stranger, the pulse wasn't perfectly fixed. Its timing shifted slightly, mirroring fluctuations in the solar wind, almost like Atlas was listening. Independent verification came fast. Observatories on opposite sides of the Earth recorded the same signal, ruling out local interference. Military satellites confirmed it wasn't a terrestrial broadcast. Whatever it was, it came from Atlas itself. And the whispers began. Was this a transmission? A beacon? A warning? Before anyone could decide, Atlas revealed something no one was ready for. August 12th, 2025. Without warning, Atlas erupted. In less than an hour, its brightness surged by 40%. Every telescope caught it. James Webb, Hubble ground observatories across Chile and Hawaii, even satellites orbiting Earth. The flare wasn't just visual, it was thermal. Atlas radiated like a furnace powering up. Its heartbeat grew louder, its pulse stronger, as if something deep inside had switched into overdrive. Then came the real shock. As analysts recalculated its orbit, the numbers didn't match. The trajectory, built from months of precise tracking, had shifted, not by random wobble, not by tiny dust jets, but in a clean, measurable curve. Atlas had changed course. The European Space Agency's Near-Earth Object Team debated the results. Outgassing? Impossible. Not at this scale. Measurement error. Every observatory saw the same shift. The conclusion no one wanted to write down. The flare and the course change happened together, logged across multiple instruments, which meant it wasn't an accident. It was a maneuver. For the first time in history, astronomers were staring at something in space that wasn't just moving. It was steering. And yet the deeper they looked, the stranger the picture became. After the flare, spectroscopists got to work. Teams at Johns Hopkins, the ESA and NASA combed through light signatures captured during the surge. Normally, comets show a familiar cocktail: water ice, methane, carbon dioxide. Atlas had those, but layered on top were absorption lines no database could explain. Several pointed to rare earth elements, the kind mined for high-tech electronics. Others hinted at exotic alloys seen only in advanced manufacturing on Earth. And buried deeper still were spectral fingerprints that matched theoretical materials from physics papers, quantum structures described in models, but never seen in nature. To the analysts, the message was clear. This wasn't random cosmic chemistry. It looked engineered. By mid-August, access to the raw telescope feeds started to tighten. NASA issued new protocols. ESA rerouted streams into classified networks. Researchers whispered about planetary security. And behind locked doors, the debate turned deadly serious. Should humanity send a message to whatever might be inside? By late August, the atmosphere inside the world's space agencies had shifted. What began as excitement was now something closer to dread. Researchers who had been openly sharing telescope data suddenly found their access restricted. Raw feeds from Webb, Hubble, and ESA's tracking systems were rerouted to secure servers. Internal memos spoke vaguely of data protocols and planetary security measures. In reality, the shutters were coming down. But behind those locked doors, a debate was raging. If Atlas was more than natural, if it was transmitting, should humanity answer? The SETI working group drafted a message. Simple, universal. A sequence of prime numbers, the periodic table, fundamental constants of physics. It was the kind of first contact script scientists had been preparing for decades. Some argued it was reckless. What if we revealed ourselves to something dangerous? Others argued the opposite. If it's already signaling, it already knows we're here. After hours of tense voting, the decision was made. The signal was sent. Then came silence. Hours stretched into days, 3 full rotations of Atlas's mysterious heartbeat, and then, on the 72nd hour, the reply came. A narrowband echo, distorted, faint, but unmistakable, timed to the exact repetition window of the original broadcast. In mission logs, engineers noted the precision, to the second. It wasn't a coincidence, it was an answer. Inside the agencies, the mood shifted instantly. Curiosity gave way to fear, because the one question nobody could escape was simple. Who or what had just answered us? As September approached, the world waited for Atlas's closest pass. But outside the agencies, the truth was fragmentary. Drips of rumor, leaks, speculation. What was confirmed was enough to shake the scientific world. Atlas glowed with a core pulse no comet should produce. It emitted radio signals in sync with that pulse. It flared, brightened, and then changed course like a ship under power. Its composition showed rare earth alloys and spectral fingerprints no natural object should carry. And finally, it answered. At an emergency session, the International Astronomical Union ruled out every natural explanation. Outgassing, radioactive decay, dust scattering. None could explain the full chain of anomalies. But official reports stopped short of saying what it really was. As one European scientist admitted off the record, we're standing on the edge of admitting the impossible. The flyby was now only weeks away. Every observatory, every telescope, every classified satellite would be watching, hoping for data that could finally settle the question. And yet, the closer it drew, the less the world was allowed to see. Public feeds blacked out, data streams throttled, statements replaced with vague promises of further analysis. For the first time in human history, we weren't just looking out into the void. Something out there was looking back. And as September 2025 ticked closer, one question echoed louder than all the rest. If 3I/Atlas isn't a comet, isn't an asteroid, isn't natural at all, then what is it? A probe, a relic, or the first sign that we are not alone? Whatever the truth is, one fact is undeniable. Atlas is coming. And when it passes us, humanity may never look at the stars the same way again.